support. They could even go for the AD carry themselves.
Yeah, this is fairly interesting to see coming out. Kaisa is one of those picks that has a lot of kill combos, but it does trend towards more skirmishing-oriented combination. And here's the jungle trade that's really going to define the matchup. Are they both going to go for farm till 6, sort of tank junglers, or is Leyan going to drop into that more carry-focused himself? Because Leyan is one of those guys that has played a lot of Nidalee, a lot of Karthus, and a lot of Kayn, but it does look like he is going for a more standard draft this time around, just splitting the difference between Udyr and Hecarim. Udyr a little bit more early game focused, and Hecarim a little bit stronger in those team fight scenarios. On the other hand, we are going to get Rakan from Hong as well. So Rare Adam are drifting away from, I think, their late game team fight strategy in the Tristana and Azir, and they're going for full pick.
I'm kind of surprised to see the Rakan over something like the Rel as well, because I feel like Rel and Rakan have somewhat similar identities when it comes to the way they begin team fights, right? That kind of snap engage that you can pull off. But either way, Rakan going to be the pick for Hung, as Tristana is locked in for Gala. So we have our two bot lanes locked in. They're both very, very aggressive bottom lanes, so we could have some action early on in the game.
Yeah, this is super interesting. In the LPL, Kaisa actually has a pretty decent win rate against Tristana. It's something you don't really expect, but the stats definitely show it. But in lane, typically the Tristana will push the Kaisa in. You need priority from other lanes to get that going. And the way it plays out is, if you actually get a sizable lead against the Tristana can't actually play her lane anymore. She will perma shove, and you can just kill her over and over with Killer Instincts and Gale Force going in onto her. That's kind of how the dynamic works. So we should expect Rare Adam to throw a lot into that bottom side. In the meantime, Lucian, as we mentioned, just way too much of a headache for RNG drafts. So far 6-0. Nobody wants to give Xiaohu that champion.
And I have to say, I can't blame them. But I do feel like there are a few champions here that RNG can just blind pick and basically say, look, this could be top, this could be mid. You're the ones that have to decide where we're going to end up putting this. And obviously things like the Gnar, which is still by far Xiaohu's most played, have been taken off the board. Illusion, as you say. But things like the Jace can be flexed to an extent. Even things like the Akali or the Sylas we've seen going up towards the top side. So we'll see where RNG go with this one.
Yeah, RNG, I think they typically like to draft something that has flex potential here. We have seen a lot of different flexes, like they even flex Renekton sometimes. Orianna is even a flex for them, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see something with both solo lane potential. But I wonder if they lock the... Okay, so they're actually locking in the Twisted Fate. This is kind of interesting. I think they're reading RA's very bottom side focused draft, and they're saying we need to counteract this somehow by sending extra members there. So they're not going to go for the flex strategy. Instead, just going for something that they for sure can support their bot lane with, and make sure that Tristana is not going to get like anti-snowballed against.
Well, over to RA now. They need to lock in both of their solo laners, and the Cho'Gath will be the blind pick top laner. Not something I can say I was expecting to see locked in today, but excited to see what Cube can do on that one. What would you expect to be the answer from the side of RNG? Because maybe something like a Set could do well, but I have to say, I don't know the Cho'Gath matchups that well.
I think they're looking for something that can match Roam. We saw both of the picks here, Galio and Sylas, essentially have the same effective Destiny Gate. That's kind of where I wanted them to go, but at the very end, they switched back to Azir as the big fundamental. We're talking about Azir and Lucian as kind of like the way this matchup really splits. And this is his best champion by a long shot, but I don't think it actually helps out on the bot lane that much. So I think in the last pick, Rare Adam actually sort of pivot their draft, and they went for something with range advantage, and they're trying to play with counter engage potential on the Cho'Gath and the Rakan. So they're basically looking at, okay, we're going to set up siege with this comp, we're going to force them to walk into us, and then we have counter engage. On the other hand, RNG going for the more aggressive side of the matchup here, and it will be the Tristana top lane.
Yeah, we got baited. We got baited. We were talking about the mid lane lock-in being a flex. It was the AD carry lock-in that was the flex all along. RNG, they're just too clever for us. They just out mind gaming everyone on the field.
That is really fun to see. We have seen Xiaohu take this against the Gnar, but against the Cho'Gath matchup, it's actually quite interesting because Cho'Gath has a lot of interruption abilities with the Rupture and also with the Feral Scream that he can even stop summoners. So this is a highly volatile lane. We have seen lanes just collapse in favor of the Cho'Gath in this scenario, and I think we might be just seeing sort of a Turbo Chem tank rush on the Cho'Gath. Personally, I love Everfrost Gauntlet on the Cho'Gath. I feel like there's so much synergy with those items in terms of the extra HP and slow field and all of that, and the extra size too. But I feel like this is probably going to be a Turbo Chem tank top lane game coming out from Cube and seeing if he can catch the Tristana.
I was going to say, I'm a huge fan of the Turbo Chem tank on Cho'Gath. You just chase people down as a giant void beast. It's always going to be an entertaining one, but guess what? We've got Xiaohu on another spicy pick. The Tristana up in the top lane against Cube there. But I want to reiterate the stakes as we head into game number 1. For RA, the sky is the limit. If they can win every single game and they get some lucky results in other series, they could take first place. But for RNG, if they win today, if they finish this series strong, they will guarantee themselves first seed for this split of the LPL's playoffs. But we're heading on to the Rift. We're heading into game number 1 between RNG and RA. First place versus 6th place, but only 2 wins separating them. And RA certainly going to have their work cut out coming into these games.
Just letting the Jayos wash over me once again. I believe this stadium is going to be played in Beijing, RNG's home arena. And taking a look at the starting runes and items. Xiaohu going to go for the call. He's very confident in his laning ability to not get picked at all. And excuse me, we just got word from production, this is being played in Shanghai, so my mistakes. There's just a lot of RNG fans all over China.
They're everywhere, man. They're absolutely everywhere. And you can understand why, especially after a split like this. RNG have completely turned things around because, you know, when you think back to 2020, it was a real rough year for RNG, and it feels like this has been very much a redemption split, but Hung and iBoy face checking in here. They're going to be able to just trade evenly. They wanted to spot whether Wei was starting on the bottom side of the map. They got that information, and the answer was yes.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure they actually have the visual confirmation, but just judging by the way Gala and Ming were positioning, they should know that at the end. And just taking a look at this bottom lane, usually we do see Kaisa be able to push this lane quite heavily. They're even checking for a level 1 invade here, just punishing the Alistar like we should in this meta and in this matchup. And of course, Rakan level 1 does a lot of auto attack damage, top 3 auto attacks in the entire champion pool of League of Legends. So we're just going to see a bit of a zone out from there, and that's going to lead to a level 2. Meanwhile, I'm really curious about how they actually path for Cube. I think this is sort of the biggest problem matchup-wise that Rare Atom have against RNG. RNG will play for their top lane 100%, while on the other hand, Rare Atom is one of those teams that, unless Ike's is playing, actually rarely goes for the top lane. Like, they will leave Cube on an island by himself. So, it's kind of a huge issue to see how Leyan is going to path towards his top lane, how he can still get Scuttle, not lose too much experience, and still keep this Cho'Gath afloat.
And I feel like when you think about Cube, honestly, still some of the highlights for me from this player were back in 2020 Demacia Cup, and I remember being really hyped for him coming into the split last year, and it not really being as exciting of a performance from him as we'd been hoping, because the team was never playing towards him, right? He was often just put on Ornn duty, and feels like the Cho'Gath may be that again. But one thing I will say is that Cho'Gath does do exceptionally well on the weak side, right? You have a ton of sustain built into your kit, so hopefully that should be good enough that Cube can just farm it out. But Xiaohu, he kind of knows that, right? With the cold start, he's saying, look, I'm okay to just farm it up too. But you can see Wei up on the top side of the map. We'll be able to grab that Scuttle Crab. We'll just look for a bit of vision. There's no camps though, so it should just reset here.
I will say for RNG, their team comp is actually incredibly difficult to pilot. They really don't have a lot of great frontliners, and if you look at Tristana and Xayah, they die very easily. So if Han gets a good quickness, like, he could wipe multiple members on the enemy team just straight off the bat. It's one of, I think, RNG's greatest strength, that they have learned how to play without like really a tank, and having Wei and Ming fill in a lot of the times for the damage taken stat. Like, this is the fun thing about RNG, but their top laner actually takes the less damage out of any top laner in the LPL. Like, he is not going to be a frontliner, and that's kind of the limitation, but also sort of the creativity coming out from RNG that they're able to execute on these comps so well. Now, taking a look at the map, as we talked about, this is going to be a very Tristana-focused heavy early game, and we already have RNG with double warding down. A lot of players will miss this, but you can just sort of creep over the blue buff without getting spotted by the scuttle, and you're seeing RNG playing super safe with this one. They are not only getting the scuttle, they're also dropping a ward on the ramp just to prevent the gank route.
Yeah, the game plan is make sure Xiaohu is miles and miles ahead of the top side. It is so regular, the game plan. And, you know, it's kind of crazy that you mentioned that actually their top lane damage taken is super low. I'm just going to quickly point out, obviously, Leyan starting this Drake off. We saw the bot lane reset from the side of RNG on clear some vision as well. FoFo TP'd in the mid lane, so they have pressure in all of those lanes, so they're going to be able to just take this Drake. And this is one of the things you kind of expect with an Udyr as well, but I was going to say, it's kind of crazy to think that Xiaohu is the lowest damage taken of top laners when his most picked champion is that Gnar anyway, which generally in these team fights does function as a frontline in a lot of circumstances. So it's kind of amusing that how much priority they've had on that Gnar pick, and yet it still doesn't define him statistically.
Yeah, it really is about the other picks that he also throws in there. You have the AP Gragas, the Lucian as the second and third most played, and then you also have Jace, Orianna, and Tristana going top. So, really is the other picks going in them so far.
Yeah.
Leyan has been spotted right here, and we have Wei coming in for the contest on the 3v3. Don't really expect much action to actually happen here. FoFo, though, does have priority as Destiny Gate is coming in.
Yeah, Cryin gets the stun. Nice little ult there from FoFo, but he's out of mana. Leyan gonna get the smite down, but chased down by the horsey. Wei jumps in, and it's first blood for RNG.
Really nicely played. Cryin coming in with the extra summoner, gets the ignite down, and also Wei finding the scuttle to get the level advantage was massive right there. They're able to get the first pick off of that, and I think that really stops the bot lane snowball. Like, it's very hard to play this bot lane out now for the side of Rare Adam, and they're also out of position.
Oh, why are they sticking around? Forced to flash his iBoy as he's chased down. The stun comes through onto Hung. I don't think any more kills will come of this one, but a couple of summoners being used across the board there. The ignite from Ming, the flash from iBoy. Kind of a foolish mistake there from the bot lane RA.
I was really surprised that they got caught up by that one. I definitely thought it was a clear signal to back off after you saw Hecarim just ride down your jungler to near full health. But Rare Adam, they pay for it with even a couple more summoners, and you know, we are going to see this bot side just be a target once again. I do want to mention, this is kind of how Rare Adam lost their 9-game win streak. It was just iBoy getting caught out 3 times in a row to end the series right there. So we have seen this sort of like targeting, especially against iBoy before. I wonder if Cryin is going to follow up on that one.
And just think back to 2020, right? Wasn't that the exact same story with Vici? Was like so many times they'd actually be looking really good, and then iBoy would get caught out in the late game. But it felt like earlier in this split, that wasn't really happening so much. And then that series, as you rightly say, iBoy getting caught out multiple times out of position.
Ooh,
it's a rough
that
situation.
was
That
great.
knockup is huge! Cube doesn't have feast available, so the Buster shot saves Xiaohu, but my goodness, that was close.
That was so well timed. He actually timed the rupture to land after the buffer came out. So really beautiful job by Cube, giving him the flash advantage. And I think that's the opening that he needed right there to really get Leyan to try and help him out with this lane. Once again, RNG has thrown so many resources into the top lane. We see double pinks there. We see Ming roaming towards the top side. But in the meantime, Rare Adam are already starting on this Herald.
Yeah, but Cube in a bit of trouble, going to be feared here. Already low on HP. Xiaohu should be able to finish this as Leyan goes in to play distraction, but the bot lane is here. It's going to be 1-for-1. Leyan is on the wrong side of the map, though. Gala's here to chase him down. Couple of feathers come in, and these ones don't tickle. Easy kill for Gala, and that should be Herald for RNG.
That was beautiful teleport position coming in for Cryin. He basically severed Rare Adam from the rest of their carries. FoFo's was in rotation, iBoy was in rotation, and they were actually going to arrive a little bit sooner, but with Twisted Fate just cutting off the top end jungle for Rare Adam, they are able to clean up that play, and Now we see this Hecarim really far ahead at this point. 1-0 and 2. He's going to get that Turbo Chem tank miles ahead of Leyan. And, you know, this is also a twisted fate, starting off with a really, really strong snowball. So let's watch that again and just check out the positioning here coming into the jungle. It was, I believe it was just a TP into the position here. So they're able to cut everything off. It's a 4v2 on the top side. Rare Atom are rotating, but just not fast enough.
I don't even think it was a TP. I think Leyan just started the Herald off while he had negative prio in mid and top. Maybe not the optimal bit of gameplay there, but it is what it is. Drake coming up in 30 seconds though, Clement, as Cube continuing to try and put the pressure on. This is one of the things, as you mentioned in Champ Select, like, Cho'Gath is real good at shutting down carries. He's real good at stopping you doing anything, and he has that sustain in the lane. Feels like Xiaohu can't necessarily do too much in that 1v1 anymore.
Yeah, I think it's just the Feral Scream, the ability to stop Rocket Jump and your flashes coming in, but we have round 2 for Herald as Cryin has to fight off Azir on the side.
Yeah, Ming looking for stuns. FoFo with an Emperor's Divide to keep himself safe here. Now, RNG wrestle control of the area. See, Drake is available. Neither team's interested in that. They want their Herald. They want the gold lead for themselves. RNG on the play right now. Leyan toying with the idea of going in, but FoFo with no ulti. I'm not sure this is a wise fight for RA to take, but I think they might just go for it anyway. Posturing for this one as the Herald goes in. Quickness is there, but they're just feared and annihilated. Xiaohu blows them to smithereens.
They were trying to get off the ramp, and RNG just were not going to let that happen. They create the bounce house on the carriers of Rare Atom as they go forward, trying to get the CCs off. And that just really wasn't worth it on the side of Rare Atom. I don't think they had the... they were definitely in the deficit at this point, and they were trying to force themselves through a ramp without Azir's backup ultimate to disengage. So I just felt like that was a really weird play, and RNG, their frontline was in perfect position to intercept. We have talked about sort of how these comps sort of play out. Is Rare Atom do have very good pick with the quickness and killer instinct, but you can see how RNG just knew their win conditions perfectly. The quickness doesn't get any purchase whatsoever. He's trying to go back in, and the Buster Shot just takes him out completely.
That is actually just beautiful. Ming completely denies the engage, gets a double knockup, then the double fear over the top of that, and then the double buster shot. Like, that was as clean as it comes, and then the Satchel Charge finishes the killers off. Speaking of which, Xiaohu just finished the Gale Force, so if you thought he was good at just blowing people up before, that ability is pretty much just double.
Bro, this is rather interesting that he's going for Gale Force. You would think that in lane, like Kraken Slayer would give you maximum punishment, especially against someone like the Cho'Gath. But for this time around, he's going for more safety in this one. He's just trying to keep his distance away from the engage potential of Rare Atom. And like, we could see the theory that Rare Atom were going through. You just tag someone with the quickness, and Kaisa flies into the backline. You could get easy snipes going in that way. But RNG just read that so well. Like, Hong didn't even get any crowd control down, so this is once again what we might be seeing for a long time here.
Yeah, we'll have to see, as I think I might be slightly delayed as my feed has crashed out slightly. But yeah, we'll hopefully be able to get everything working again shortly. But let's quickly talk about item breakpoints, because we have some mythics across the board on the side of RNG and an Essence Reaver for Gala. There's nothing for RA as they're collapsed upon in the bottom side of the map. Cube gonna be feared, and Gala should be able to pretty easily finish that kill off. In fact, Wei gets himself a bit of kill credit. There are only 2 plates remaining on that bottom tower, and there is a Herald in the pocket away. Now Ming and Xiaohu playing together. Xiaohu pretending to be the bot laner as iBoy is ignited, ticked down and finished off here. No, will walk away for a second, finally drops.
Yeah, and RNG actually win out on both sides of the map at the same time. FoFo not able to leave and match Cryin. Also, they do know where Udyr is. Rare Atom trying to claw one back in the 2v2, but they're going up against an Alistar.
Yeah, the aftershock keeping Ming alive there. FoFo and Cryin 1v1ing in the river. FoFo ain't winning that one for now. Cryin has to move away. There was a tier 2 taken. That Herald snowballed into 2 towers on the bottom side of the map as well. Wei doing a great job to push the advantage. And it feels like RNG are just accelerating out of control here. RA want to answer in the top side. Ming is here alongside Xiaohu. Leyan wants to make the play. Flashes for the stun. And we'll be able to finish that one off. That was more damage than I was expecting, to be honest, out of Leyan.
And I just want to mention that this is super interesting coming out from RNG, because the way they're able to execute this and win out on both sides of the map is because they're playing double AD carries. Like, they actually have shove on both sides, especially with an over-leveled Tristana that's able to hold out against the 2v1. This is some of the tempo plays that I think a lot of teams don't really take into calculations, because you just don't play against AD carries that much coming in from the solo lanes. So their top laner in RNG has a lot more wave clear potential. Now Rare Adam will try to punish Wei as he goes into the river. He's way too tanky for that. That's not going to happen and result into anything. And yeah, I think RNG, that's just kind of some of the tricks that they've picked up this season, able to understand tempo plays better, and also with this this Twisted Fate, with the Everfrost completed this early on, those tower dives are going to be even more deadly.
FoFo is going to flash over the wall. Feared, though, the gold card is there. FoFo falls. Now on towards Leyan, who just has to flee here. Cubes arrived, though, and actually they have the numbers advantage. Cryan's in trouble. Quickness with the knock-up. Xiaohu over the wall looking for Leyan. Gets the resets immediately. Onto Cube they go. Knocking him away. Cryin survives somehow. Xiaohu with the double, and RNG, they just can't lose a fight.
Go down to 100 HP, but they aren't able to kill him through the stopwatch. And that's a 3-for-0 trade. In the meantime, RNG even get an unopposed top lane tower for it. Rare Adam, their hopes at clinching that #1 seed fading by the minute.
Yeah, this is a struggle for them. But hey, for RNG, this is looking beautiful, right? They recently had a couple of losses. They recently lost to JDG, and it was like, okay, where does RNG sit? What does this mean for the team? Doesn't mean anything. They're back on top. They figured out their form.
This is kind of crazy, but we're going to watch this again. The main advantage, once again, is RNG really have all the side lanes onto lockdown, so they can rotate their members a lot quicker here. They're going for the 2v1 play, and just watch this as Cryin goes into stasis at the exact moment, gets the healing to go through, and just comes up alive there. You know, it was really good use of keeping his pots running during the stasis and coming out healthy afterwards.
Yeah, very nicely done by RNG. And great ult there from Xiaohu as well. At the last second, drops the Buster Shot so that Cube can't get the auto off to finish Cryin. So really nicely played. And I have to say, I love the pace at which RNG are playing this one. When we talked earlier about what RA were good at, what they built themselves their win streak with, it was quiet early games that led to big leads in the jungle and led to them being able to find advantages in the mid game. RNG have just said, you don't get to have your quiet early game. We are going to brawl you over every single minion on the map and force you into these crazy fights and stop you finding those advantages.
I think RNG came in with a really nice idea. They had a lot of lanes with shove, and now we're going to see another collapse just coming in from Ming, plus the Destiny Gate to follow.
Oh no, Hug, there's nowhere to go, my friend, and you've actually brought iBoy alongside with you. He's going to fall in just a second. Gala over the wall. There's the fear, but actually flashed away from, so iBoy gets out with his life. But the Herald, that'll be a consolation prize for RNG. At least they get something for themselves.
Yeah, they don't finish off the double kill, but we're going to see this play over and over again, and what I really think Rare Adam need to do at this point is you have to try and just break the 1-3-1. They're pretty much forced to just all in.
Oh my lord.
No damage traded back
Xiaohu,
whatsoever.
Little Tiger, that's who.
That's just Halo Blades Tristana for you. Kaisa is not the only assassin AD carry in the game anymore.
No, she is not. Well, I don't know if we can say AD carry top laner. I think this is the front line for RNG, by the way. This is our tank player, the Tristana top. No. Yeah, I don't know. RNG are just running away with things at this point. This feels like not even just a win for them. This is like a statement game. when we look at RNG, winning this series guarantees them top 2. They only have 2 series remaining, including this one. If they can win both, they guarantee themselves first place. This feels like RNG stepping onto the Rift and saying, hey, we're first place for a reason, guys. Like, nobody's taking another win like JDG did. That's never happening again.
And their lead mainly just came from playing the Herald a lot better. I actually feel like the laning phase didn't go that poorly for Rare Adam. It was just the Herald plays that really doomed them. The first time they go around, they get their top lane and jungle completely cut off, and the second time it was even a worse disaster as their front line tries to engage. So I'm not sure why RA are going in this hard onto the Herald plays when they don't have the terrain advantage or the priority advantage necessarily. And this is kind of the common theme that we see a lot of the difference between the mid-tier LPL teams and the top-tier LPL teams. I think a lot of times Herald plays are just not worth contesting over. Now we're going to see RNG with another collapse on the map.
Oh, the Everfrost is there. iBoy's caught, but he has killer instinct to get himself to the backline. Gala jumping in 1v3 with the Gale Force there. He's already used his E though, so can't pull the feathers in. Bomb on top of Cube will be the first kill there of the fight. RNG find one advantage for themselves. They can drop a Herald in this mid lane, guaranteeing a tier 2. Drake isn't up, but Baron is. I don't know if they can move back over to that one, but they could threaten an inhib with this Herald.
Yeah, Xiaohu nearly gets the slow with the jump over the wall. And the minion wave is in a very good position as well. I think this might be Rare Adam's chance to kind of go in if RNG overstay. But RNG back up. They're playing this really, really safe at this point. When they are grouped, I think it's probably the best moment for Rare Adam to really strike. As we have mentioned, their carries are actually fairly susceptible to the crowd AoE control. But RNG, they're just willing to drag this one out, play super safe, and I think what RNG want to do is just keep the wave shoved out at this point. No one can contest Tristana, and just constantly fold her into the rest of the team, get that numbers advantage, and just find your kills. Rare Adam, at this point, it looks like they're almost all-inning on Desperation Barons at this point. Take a look at the items coming out from FoFo. He's not even going for the Leandri's Anguish. He's like, I actually just need shove. I desperately need shove, or RNG's just going to collapse on us 24/7.
The crazy thing is, it's felt like RA have been making these kind of desperation plays up towards that top side of the map all game, right? When we talk about their Herald, that they kind of couldn't contest, let's be honest, and then they really brute forced that contest when they didn't even have FoFo's ulti. That felt like a, we can't let RNG have this, we can't let them snowball, but by brute forcing that unfortunate fight for themselves, they actually made RNG snowball even harder.
Yeah, they really did, and at this point, look at Cryin. He's so deadly right now. He has a 10% extra move speed from the Magi's, now that it's at 14 stacks, and his Everfrost plus yellow card is actually a 3-second like root plus stun combo. So whenever he just moves across the jungle, it's so deadly, and he does have the blue trinket to actually catch people out. They can really just do opportunistic picks. They can set up in the jungle and then just pop the blue trinket. If there is a numbers advantage, he instantly lands and they find a pick. They can just do that over and over again with the shove coming out from their solo lanes.
And one nice little thing about the Magi's as well is if you're Twisted Fate and your ultimate gives vision on someone that your allies couldn't already see, you actually get the assist for that vision. So you can very easily stack the Magi's without ever even being a part of the player's Twisted Fate, which, I mean, Cryin's been a part of pretty much every play this game. He's got 11 out of 12 on the kill participation. So, yeah, I don't feel like he'll need that mechanic, but I'm just saying, it's possible if they're playing both sides of the map.
Destiny Gate is super fun to see. One of the things that people don't notice about it is it actually pops like spell shields too, so you can get a lot of surprise drops on people even with the Banshee Veils coming in. We're gonna see another drop once again. This time it doesn't seem like they actually they have found the target in top lane. I was just not looking at the right place.
Guess who's caught out of position? It's iBoy again. Flash from Cryin. It was an attempt. There was an attempt from iBoy. You gotta respect that, but he's caught out way too far up at the top lane, and guess what? It's Baron o'clock.
He knows it's not even close, so he doesn't use any of the summoners. And I really think Rare Adam, before they try to solo push these lanes, they actually just need a group and force a team fight. They need to get a good team fight win here.
Yeah, I don't know if 4v5 is the play, though. Q pushed into the rest of the team as the feathers come out. Vestal aggressively as well. Q finished off. RNG, they were just looking for the fight all along. Cryin steps forward with the gold card onto FoFo, but he slides away from that one. Hung chased down by Weiwei. And there's a big old horsey chasing down the bird. There's a lot of birds on the side of RA, but not enough. The bombs come through again from Xiaohu as Hung flashes out to safety. RNG just taking everything on the map.
Well, if we have to pick an MVP for the losing team, I'm going to give it to Hung. That was a pretty cool ankle breaker move right there. Trying to fake out Wei on that one. Yeah, we take some silver linings when they appear. But I meant that Rare Adam had to look for a 5v5 play before they try to answer the side lanes. The cooldowns right now for RNG are just so low that they can just do this drop over and over again. And I really think that before sending iBoy to the top, you kind of need to go for an all-in.
I don't know about the 3v5 guys. I don't know if that's the answer. We just did this. It didn't work. Why are we doing it again? iBoy about to go down, has his flash, but let's be honest, he can't get out of this one. I mean, look, RA, I guess they have dinner booked after this one. They want to get this game done with as fast as possible.
True. They're thinking, you know what? We could use these extra 2 hours to prepare for our series against EDG later in the week, you know? Like, this one's kind of over at this point. I'm kind of surprised that Rare Adam...
They've got a scrim booked.
Yeah, Rare Adam did have side select coming into this one, so I'm really surprised that they actually went for the blue side draft, considering that the way JD Gaming kind of dismantled RNG was just, we're going to go pure red side. We are going to leave our top lane for last pick. If we're on red side, the flex shenanigans don't actually work, because we can actually decide what we want to play into the top lane against it. So I feel like with JD Gaming, like sort of laying out the script on how to play against RNG, I'm really surprised at the way like Rare Adam kind of approached this one.
Yeah, it feels a little disappointing, but maybe they did pick the Cho'Gath, which JDG did. However, the circumstances were quite different.
Yeah, blind Cho'Gath and Cho'Gath lock-in kind of are really different.
not quite the same thing. Similar. They are both Cho'Gath, so at least they looked at the match history. But yeah, not quite working out. And we got to give a quick shout out to Ming as well, and how great he's been looking, not just in this game, but this entire split. I feel like he has been perhaps the best support in the league this split, but this game as well, just being in the right place at the right time consistently throughout the game, getting some fantastic engages on this Alistar. And I feel like Alistar has really become one of his absolute bread and butter picks.
For sure. It's always been like an RNG tradition to have a great Alistar on the team, starting with Mata. Now Wei just looking to home people away. Cryin is the target, but it looks a little bit too little too late.
That was so sad. The Everfrost just completely denies everything, and they're going to lose 2 inhibs for that play. FoFo low on HP, but he will walk out of this one. Or will he? Cryin in the base. The cards on the fountain aren't quite enough. Rolled it a little too low on that one. Pulled a 16 right off the deck for the dealer. Now to the bot lane, though. RNG, they just get to sweep everything up. This is honestly just housework for them now.
Yeah, way too much wave. They're going in onto the top lane. Gala gets another kill, and there's honestly no answer from Rare Adam. They already expended all of their engage tools earlier on, so they have to take this front to back, which doesn't seem like a great answer.
This is just brutal now. It's 27 minutes into the game, and it's a 15,000 gold lead. Unless FoFo can get some kind of streamer shuffle, but his ult's on cooldown. Cryin with a red card onto the team. They can end the game whenever they want, but they don't want it just yet. They want a few kills. iBoy will go down. The Nexus falls, and RNG just absolutely demolish RA.
Such a disgusting game, and just showing another level of understanding and how to play these sort of double AD carry compositions coming out from RNG. They were up 13,000 gold before 25 minutes in this one. And I think it's just mainly down to 2 things. One is understanding how to play the Herald fights a lot better. They were in position. They were able to section off Rare Adam twice in a row. Rare Adam kind of just ran into them and gave over kills. And the second thing was the far superior tower trading setup that they had. They had solo Xayah pushing up against against Cube's Cho'Gath, and I don't think Rare Adam really saw the play. They saw this one AD carry and they were like, oh, we can defend it with this top laner. So Cube actually just walks up, and then the Twisted Fate and Hecarim just collapse on him instantly for the kill. They leave mid lane wide open against Azir. They don't even care about mid lane. In the meantime, the two-man from Rare Adam actually just straight up lose to Tristana and Ming, because this Tristana is a solo lane Tristana with a lot of gold. So it's just another level of understanding on how to play these compositions out, and taking advantage of the fact that Rare Adam don't really have the same calculations.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the Twist of Fate and Hecarim combo as well, is that like those two champions can very quickly change where they are on the map. With Hecarim flying across the map with Turbo Chem Tank, you get like a quarter of the way across the map in 5 seconds. So when you think he's over in the mid lane, he's ganking top in a second. And then Twisted Fate, obviously with the Destiny port, can quite easily follow up on that. But also I think this game was a testament to how much flexibility RNG have in their draft phase. The fact that Tristana was actually the flex, that like when we saw the Tristana Alistar locked in, my brain was immediately like, oh yeah, well that's the bot lane sorted. You know, this is like the premier bot lane duo right now in the LPL. Tristana and Alistar is like the go-to. That's that sorted. I wonder what will go in the solo lanes. You expect the mid laner to be flexed, but no, they can flex all of the roles. They can flex anything at this point.
Yeah, that's such a massive advantage, and exactly why you have to play red side against RNG. I don't think going blue side against them is actually a great idea. We're going to be taking a look at the gold graph. A really smooth sailing overall, and Cryin actually dealing the most damage on the team, which is kind of surprising given how fed Xiaohu was, but he was basically in every fight, starting it off super soon. And we see how oppressive Everfrost actually can be when you are in that snowballing position. Coupled up with the gold card, you're looking at 3 seconds of just lockdown potential. And if there's no answer from the sidelines, you're just dead.
This is how you play Twisted Fate. I'm sick of all of these passive Twisted Fates that just clear waves mid, get out on the map, force things to happen. This is what Twisted Fate is picked for in competitive. We're going to